Oh, there it is. Time now for the trade chart with that man, Dave Richard. Got the big smile on his face.
Trying to look like how I looked in that graphic.
You haven't changed in 30 years. Same face.
Well, my wife says, but she doesn't say it kindly like that.
Let's talk some trades, Dave, as the trade deadline is rapidly approaching in your fantasy leagues. And let's give some buy low and sell high candidates. First buy low candidate that we're looking at here is DJ Moore, who's been bad with Tyson Bagent, but might be getting Justin Fields back in Week 11 against Detroit.
And you remember what he was like when Justin Fields was throwing him the football. Number one, he got more targets. And number two, he definitely had tons more in terms of fantasy points. And potentially this week, Justin Fields is coming back. That's something you have to keep an eye on. But the whole idea of acquiring DJ Moore is so that you've got him for the fantasy playoffs. And I think that he could absolutely go off, especially in PPR leagues. I'm going to give you 5 names. You tell me which of these names you would take straight up for DJ Moore. Najee Harris.
Yep.
Jalen Waddle.
Wait, I'm giving those guys to get?
You're giving those guys to get DJ Moore.
Harris, yes. Waddle, no.
Okay. Aaron Jones.
Depends what I need. But
Ramondre Stevenson.
Same thing.
Here's the big one. Tony Pollard.
Not this week.
No? You're going to hang on to Pollard for one week?
I totally get it. Carolina.
I totally get it. Well, he should have gone off against the Giants. He didn't do it, but those are the types of players that I think you should be able to trade away to get DJ Moore in your squad. And remember, the best is, well, I don't know if I can say the best is yet to come with DJ Moore because he's already had 2 monster games, but certainly better than what he gave you with Tyson Bagent at QB.
Just hope that thumb is okay for Justin Fields. Let's talk about Hollywood Brown, who we thought was going to have a big game with the return of Kyler Murray, and he almost did, but he didn't catch that touchdown. So is the best yet to come for Hollywood Brown?
First of all, credit to you because you had Kyler Murray as a top 12 quarterback last week. I was very nervous about how he'd look. He looked awesome, and he really should have had that second touchdown, if not from Marquise Brown, from somebody else in that game. But you saw that play. Brown laid out for the target, had the ball bounce off his hands in the end zone. But that just provides another opportunity to buy low on Marquise Brown. We know what the track record is with him as Kyler Murray's #1 receiver. I expect that target volume to rise. And I don't think the schedule is that bad. And even if the schedule was bad, Arizona's going to throw a lot anyway because their defense isn't so good. So again, I'm going to give you 3 names. You tell me which of these 3, if any, you'd give up to get Marquise Brown on your team. Adam Thielen, straight up. The way that Thielen's been playing the last couple of weeks, fantasy managers might have a higher opinion of him. Would you give away Thielen to get Marquise Brown?
I would, yes.
What about James Cook?
Yes.
Might depend on what you need, but again, I agree with you. Brian Robinson.
Depends what you need.
And here's one that I think you'll say, yes, you'll give up this player to get him, but it's an interesting name, Keaton Mitchell, because a lot of people are super excited about him. Yes, I would trade him away to get Marquise Brown. A week from now, 2 weeks from now, that might not look so good, but Marquise Brown should be a top 20-ish wide receiver rest of season.
Just keep in mind that the Cardinals still have their bye coming up, so you might lose him for
week 14. If your fantasy playoffs start in week 14, you don't have any Cardinals.
Right. All right, let's talk about some sell-high candidates, and they're on the same team. We got Mike Evans and Rashad White, so you don't like the Bucs moving forward. Evans has been awesome this season, but you think now's the time to get rid of him?
Let's just preface first and foremost by saying sell high doesn't mean get these guys off your team. It means they're good for your team. You want to keep them, but if you can turn them into something better based on how they've been doing, you should go ahead and do that. I'll start with Mike Evans. Sell high as if he's top 10. Definitely don't sell high just because you think this is as good as it's going to get. No, he will give at least one more huge game the rest of the way. But when he hasn't had a huge game, he's been way below, I think, even 13 PPR points. Baker with the thumb issue. Chris Godwin's not going to be terrible forever. I think that Mike Evans, the time is right to try and move on from him. Would you rather have Mike Evans or any of these 4 names? David Montgomery, Joe Mixon, DeAndre Swift, TJ Hawkinson.
All 4.
Yeah, I would too.
Would you rather have Mike Evans, DJ Moore, or Marquise Brown?
I think I'd rather have DJ Moore, to be completely honest with you. I think that he probably has the most upside. And then I'd put Mike Evans real close to that. Marquise Brown would be below them. Okay, Rashad White, 16-plus touches, 98 or more total yards, 4 straight games. The question is, can it last? I'm not worried about the catches. I think that can last. But it's just the volume, the fact that he has been efficient, the fact that he's found the end zone. These are things that I get a little bit nervous about with a running back like Rashad White, who right now is top 15 among the fantasy running backs on the trade chart. Not sure he's going to stay there. So again, last time we'll do this, 3 names. Devontae Smith, who really is like the best buy low you could have right now, actually. Devontae Smith, Michael Pittman, Garrett Wilson. No question you'd rather have those 3 than Rashad White. It's just a matter of whether you can turn Rashad White into those guys. You might have to throw something in with White to get one of those 3.
I don't think so, because I think he's one of those guys that fantasy managers looking for a starting running back would take to give up. You give up one of those receivers to get him, knowing that he's been so productive, and this was what he was doing last year, catching the ball, and should hopefully keep him sustainable with the way Baker Mayfield's thrown. And the thumb injury might actually help Rashad White because less downfield
for
throws.
Baker's thumb injury could, absolutely. Yep. And Devontae Smith, the reason why he's a buy low, no Dallas Goedert maybe for 3 straight games. We saw last year, he blew up. And just imagine, Garrett Wilson's numbers have been great with Zach Wilson. Imagine what they would be when Aaron Rodgers comes back.
It might be worse. Just from the standpoint
I don't want to hear this. No way.
To play. But yes, hopefully we'll be better if Rodgers is Rodgers. You like talking about some wide receivers on the rise, some guys that have the opportunity to be better in the future. Check out the Fantasy Football Today Dynasty podcast hosted by Heath Cummings. They get you set for everything you need to make those franchises successful for many years to come. The Fantasy Football Today Dynasty podcast, wherever podcasts are found.